Okay, today is Thursday, July 9th, 2020 at 6 p.m. for the Board of Water Commissioners meeting. Pursuant to the Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Town Hall of Southwick. Board of Water Commissioners is being conducted at both Town Hall via remote participation by some or all of its members to the greatest extent possible. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided by the order. Despite of our efforts, if we are not able to provide for real-time access via Zoom conference call, platform will post a record of the meeting on the town website as soon as possible. I am Chairman Edward Johnson. Others in remote attendance are Commissioner Dave Meswar, DPW Director Randy Brown, DPW Office Manager Christy Mayette, and others members of the public. Roll call must be done for all motions made on votes. This meeting is being recorded. Okay. Reorganization of the board. You want me to remain as chairman, Dave? Or do you want it?
No, you can remain. I have no problem with that.
Okay, is that fine with everybody? You want to make that in the form of a motion?
I make a motion that Ed remains chairman of the board, chairman of the commission.
Second by Ed Johnson. All in favor?
Dave Meswar, aye.
Ed Johnson, aye. Okay, we have to table the minutes of the last meeting. I wasn't present and Luther is out with medical issues, so we'll just table that. Okay, DPW Director's Report, Randy.
All right. Everybody can hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. So it's been a little while since I want to give an update on some project. First item is the water main project that is being done by Ludlow Construction. That project is about complete. A couple of, rest at this point contract. There's still final, but for the most part, the project is done. There were a couple of things during construction that still are in the works. The first item is analyzers. This is what chlorine that comes from Springfield water transmission main. The original chlorine were not compatible, and when the residual dropped down low or zero, stopped working. So we actually had to get an analyzer installed that had no town. We did work out the contractor, subcontractor credit on the original analyzers. So the analyzers that now are working great. They're for the at our pump. Another item is the full capacity. So the original plan was to have from Springfield water system. Ran all the pumps. We're able to get at this point about 7 gallons per minute. We've done a lot of to see what the issue is. Look at the pumps, the pipes, making sure everything's sized properly. We still don't have a line answer. Likely scenario is there is some tuberculosis. The transmission main that comes down from Springfield Water's pipeline. That is our pipeline, and over the years there may have been some tuberculation that built up into it, which does restrict that flow. Another option is that there may be a partially closed valve along that pipeline. We do have some plans for when that pipeline was installed, but no indication of a valve that would be in place. And if there is a valve, we would try to find that and make sure that it's fully open. So one of those two options, or maybe a combination of those two, is likely what's happening. But in the meantime, we're still going to have to rely on what water we can get out of that pump station, which is a little less than we had desired at this point. The hope is that when we move forward with the next phase of the project, which is the pipeline transmission lining or replacement, that'll resolve that issue. But we were not able to fund that this year at this time. So we may be stuck with that smaller flow until we get that pipeline project done. And there are other couple of SCADA programming issues that are being resolved at this point. We've got our SCADA consultant coming back on site next Tuesday, and I'm hoping that they'll be able to finish the last piece of that work. Other than those three items, everything else is pretty much working as expected. It's been a long project, but you know, we're finally pretty much at the finish line. Let's see, number 2, Prowler Water Systems. They are working on a town-wide.
Randy, so we're,
Can you hear me? Sorry. Okay, so
yeah,
Prowler.
Randy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, are we gonna have to wait with this maximum capacity? We're gonna have to wait till we get the money to do that project we were gonna do this year to take care of that
Yeah, we
problem?
have to wait till we get. Yes, we are. Yeah, fortunately.
So you think that's what the issue is?
I probably it's likely in there. Yes, you know, without
Okay,
percent certainty, but one of those two options is
okay,
what the issue is.
okay,
Tested the pumps, the pumps individually, and also in tandem with each other. Like I said, we've done a lot of tests and try to track this issue down. So that's where we're at with that issue.
okay, thank you.
Yep. The next item is Prowler Water System is doing some leak testing in town. It's something we do every 3 years. So I'm waiting for that testing to be complete and the report sent to us. Not sure when exactly that'll happen, but I expect that that'll be in the next probably 3 or 4 weeks, I hope. Then is water tank inspection due this year. We do those tests every 5 years. So we are due for inspection this year on those water tank inspections.
Okay,
Item 4 is the lead and copper sampling. This is something we do every 3 years. I'm sorry. We sent out notices to about 20 residents asking for their assistance. We do this usually with the same houses each year, every 3 years. And we've got results. I think, Christy, how many did we get back responses from?
So far just one, but I'm going to be sending a reminder here being next week and checking some phone calls. Usually, people will participate. They just don't necessarily give us a call. We have to call them.
Okay. So we're going to follow up on that. That's what we'll plan on doing in August. And also schools, over schools or not now. There's some uncertainty about whether they can open up in the fall. Per DEP guidance, we can only test when those schools are in session. So if the schools do open up in the fall, we will get those tests done at that same time. Item 5, water use restrictions. I'm sure you're aware were put into effect about a month ago. And this is in compliance with our permit from Mass DEP, our water withdrawal permit. In addition to that, Western Massachusetts, Central Massachusetts, and also North Shore were put into a drought condition by the Mass State Drought Advisory Board. I think that was 2 weeks ago they did that, maybe 10 days, 2 weeks ago. So because of those two items, we are in water use restrictions, and we will continue to be in restrictions until we're able to get out. Either flows in the Wessel River rise, or if the state releases the our restrictions in our region. Item 6 is we sent in the annual statistical report and the consumer confidence report to Mass DEP. Couple interesting item numbers for the statistical report. We like to look at the residential gallons per day flow per day as a comparison to prior. We came in at 73 gallons per day, which is a little higher than last year. I think last year our number was 68 gallons per day. But again, 73 is in the range of where we've been over the past few years. And the other number is our unaccounted for water, which is at 9.9%. That's down a little bit from our last year's report of 12%. And hopefully with the leak detection that's happening in town right now, we can identify some leaks and drop that number lower. Item 7, a meal. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Ed.
No, I'm just saying, okay, that's good. Yep.
Okay, sorry. Number 7, Emil continues his backflow inspections. He's done a number of these this year. He will continue to get through them throughout the rest of the year as required by MSTP. Number 8 is water bills were issued on June 9th, and we did send out demands on June 29th. That's the last step we can take at this point for any customers that are not up to date with their bills. To the governor, towns, water departments cannot move forward with a shut-off process at this time. So we're going to wait until that is allowed through the governor's orders, and then we will we'll follow up with the demand and the payment process on those customers. Number 9, I got a call from Edgewood Golf Course a couple weeks ago with these really dry weather conditions. They do have several wells on their property, but they were looking for a connection to the water system. I asked how much water they think they're going to be needing, and they'd be looking for somewhere in the range of 25 or 30,000 gallons per day, which would be, I think, by far the largest customer that we would have. Unfortunately, our infrastructure does not support or cannot support that kind of flow to get to their property at this point. And also our water withdrawal permit, as you know, we are near the limit of that withdrawal permit. This would put us very close to, if not over, our allowable withdrawals from our own well site. So I told them that unfortunately at this point we don't have the infrastructure or the means to allow that connection, but certainly if anything comes up in the future, we'd be happy to talk to them about that. And item 10 is there is a development in town. This is just south of the American Inn. It's going to be a mixed-use development. We'll be building in 3 separate phases. There will be a mix of commercial and residential properties. I think like the first floor, they're planning on being some dentist offices, doctor's offices, maybe some retail, and then there'll be residential properties on the second floor. So we're working with them to see what their water use demands are and how they would connect to our water system. So they are currently going through the planning board approval process, and I'm working with them on that. That's all I have in my report. The next page in your packet is the work order summary that Christy prepared. You can see all the various tasks that we've done over the past, well, really since our last meeting. Any questions on that?
No, I don't have any. Dave, do you?
No.
Okay, yep. Okay. All right, we have an appointment, 6:15, a 15-minute segment. And this meeting is being recorded, 8 2nd Street. Randy, can you fill us in on that?
Yeah, I think Miss Madera reached out to us. I think she's on the call. So I guess maybe I'll let her start off and explain what her situation is. And she's the one.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. So we are interested in hooking into town water on 2nd Street. And from what we understand, there isn't a water line on this street.
That's
Yes.
correct.
So I guess the options that seem reasonable would be to hook in from 1st Street, which according to Randy isn't an option because that line is already overused, or hook in from Miller Street and have it come up 2nd.
That's correct. That's an only 1.5-inch main on 1st Street, and there's already 3 houses on it. And we ran into this at another situation in town, and you will not have any water pressure, and we don't want to be responsible for that.
So why was 2nd Street skipped to begin with?
Ma'am, I don't know. That's long before I was commissioner. Randy's probably, what, 25 years ago, 30 years ago?
Yeah, we did look up some records to see when those pipelines were installed. There was one connection to made, so I think number 4 Second Street, that was done about 20, 25 years ago. And then there are 2 other properties on First Street. Christy, you had those numbers. I remember, was that back in the 60s or 70s? Is that correct? When those connections were made?
She's muted, but she's shaking her head.
It was in the 60s and 70s.
So yeah, those 3 pipelines tapped off of one main, as Ed noted. We do have concerns about utilizing that pipeline with more customers. So for that reason, that tapping in that pipeline would not be advisable.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Because you were breaking up a bit. I didn't hear all of it.
I'm sorry. So I said that because there are 3 pipelines on that 1.5 inch service, not
Yep.
1.5, the 3 services off that pipeline. That pipeline is already at capacity. So adding more demands, adding more flows to that pipeline would not be advisable. Just for reference, a typical single-family house, per our water use regulations, has a 1 inch service. So a 1 inch pipeline would serve 1 house. We have 3 houses off of 1.5 inch pipeline, and adding yours would make it 4. Again, we'd have concerns about the ability to deliver water to that property.
Right, but I guess I just don't understand why that is our issue.
Well, can you explain your current situation with your water?
Say that again, please. I'm sorry,
Can you explain the issues you're having with your current water source?
So the major concern is the quality of water that we're getting into the house from a shared well. And that is not located on our property. There's nothing wrong with the pressure. The pressure is fine. But it's the concern of the quality of water and the fact that we don't have access to our own water source. If something goes wrong with the well, we don't have access. It seems absurd that it should be expected that 2 homes should share a well not located on somebody's property. I just don't or on the other party's property. I don't understand. I understand that we bought the house this way, but it was always just a bizarre, it's just bizarre.
Well, you did
So
some
I
research on that, Randy, didn't you?
What?
Well, I talked to the Board of Health. So the Board of Health oversees private wells. That's not through the town. That's not through the water department. But the Board of Health has told me that it's not uncommon to have several properties tapped off of one well site. And I think she even told me that it's permissible to have up to 15 connections off of one well before you're considered a public water system. So I understand why you're concerned about this, but I don't think it's an unusual situation. I don't know all the locations in Southwick where there are several properties off of one well. I do know of one other location because I had a friend of mine who lived at the house, which is not near your house on the other side of town, but there were 2 houses tapped off of one well. There may be others. Like I said, I don't know that. The Board of Health may have some records about that, but they did say that there's nothing wrong with having several properties tapped off of one well.
So what is our options?
Well, I think if I explained to you, one option would be to come off of Miller Road with a new connection and tap right into your house.
On our dime. Because
That'd be
Southwick
correct.
decided not to put a water line in on their road.
So there
I guess I'm just trying to understand this. whole concept.
Sure, I'm trying. Well, so
I understand.
the water system, there's only 2/3 of the town is on town water. The rest, 1/3 of town is on private well. So we're not everywhere. I understand that we are in a lot of properties around your neighbor, in your neighborhood, but there are a couple others that are also on private wells. I think the last house on Second Street is not talked about your neighbor at number 6, but I think is it number 10 maybe. I think they have a private well. Across the way, I'm trying to think of the street name. I think it's Shore Road. I believe there's a property or two that have are off wells as well. There's so like I said, it's not uncommon, but certainly most people do have well water systems to their property line, but you're one of those that do not.
What?
Now, if we were to say we wanted to go ahead with going from Miller Street all the way up our street, is that something we would have to hire the town to do, or we have to hire privately to do? Or is that a town matter at that point?
No, you would hire do that work. Would be there
You
to
cut-
make it done in accordance with standards.
You cut
But
out.
I'm sorry, my connection may be bad here.
That's okay.
So-
Just
You would be responsible to hire a contractor to do that. We do not do that work ourselves.
Okay. All right, then, and if supposedly, granted, I mean, I know number 4 on our street is on the water line from First Street. Now, what would happen? I mean, do we own that water line straight down through the whole street now? So if something happens down the road at the end by Miller, are we responsible for any damage that's done down by the Miller area? I mean, essentially, we own that line all the way to Miller, but where does the responsibility fall at that point? I mean, God forbid there's a water break and a sinkhole happens and something, I mean.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's something we can discuss with the water commissioners. I've seen it done both ways, so that's a discussion item.
Okay.
I just have a question, Randy. What would be the standard size that you would need to service all the homes along First and Second Street? Would that have to go to a 6-inch water main, or would a 3-inch water main? What would be the size for that number of properties?
So the standard minimum pipe size is 6-inch. So we would want to run a 6-inch pipeline all the way down, say First Street. There could be a hydrant at the very end of the road, which could be used for firefighting and flushing purposes. But 6-inch pipeline is a standard minimum.
And what runs down Miller? Is that a 8 or 10-inch? Do you know?
There's a 6-inch on Miller Road.
Okay, so it would be 6. Okay.
So what would be the cost to upgrade the First Street pipeline to handle, and it just seems absurd to run another line in between the other two when we don't really need it. It seemed like it would make more sense. I'm just looking for future upgrades and where we're at.
Right.
If that's an old line, is it something that we can look at upgrading and where that would fit in our capital?
So that run is about 500 feet. I just tried to look on the map here. You would probably be talking, if you want to just put up a pipeline in the road, say a 6-inch pipeline, with the service connections and say probably 1 or 2 hydrants along that run. You're going to be talking about $150 per foot. So fortunately, using my phone is
So 750 grand.
the video because
$75,000.
500.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
It wasn't going to be $750,000.
Right,
Well, I work in corporate aviation, so
Yeah, me back.
$75,000 doesn't even raise an hire.
I was going to say, if there was an aircraft gate valve, then you're right there at $750,000. No problem. But I think the math to me on it was 75 grand.
Is that something we can look into, Randy?
Yeah, that's probably on the low end. You know, each hydrant is going to probably cost about $2,500. So the more hydrants, we can do one hydrant plus the pipeline and service connections. I mean, I'm thinking probably $10,000 to $15,000.
Is that something we can do, or we'd have to hire it out?
We would not be able to do that, I don't think.
Okay,
Have to check. We would probably be better off hiring, well, you know, contracting that would work out.
okay. Can we look into that, check into that?
Yeah, we can certainly look into it. Yep. Yep. We're gonna have a discussion about our budget later on, so we can incorporate that into our budget discussion.
Okay, okay. Let's look into that and see what we can do.
Okay.
Okay, Amanda, we're gonna work on it.
Very good. I appreciate
Okay.
everyone's help and assistance.
All right, we'll
Thank
try, we do what we can do. We'll try.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Have a good
Appreciate it,
evening.
everyone. All right. You guys too.
Yep.
Bye.
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, Dan Albano.
Hi, Dan. This meeting's being recorded.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Chairman Ed Johnson. You have a 15-minute slot. Go ahead and state your concerns, please.
Okay, yeah, we had a leak on Tannery Road, my mother's house. I take care of my mother over on Tannery Road. Didn't know it was leaking. It was under the snow, you know, off the embankment towards the creek. When I suspected a leak, you know, I got right on it, had them repair it. I figured the water meter would have shown a large volume of water, you know, being used, you know. Trying to see, you know, what you guys can do for her. My mother's 87, terminally ill, widower. I take care of her when I can. And I just seeing what type of, you know, if we can do an abatement on the 13,000, or at least a lot of it.
Can you give me, Christie, can you give me the background on this, please?
Okay, so we received a call on February 10th from Mr. Albino that there was water coming up from the ground and bubbling up about 3 inches, is what he told me, from the ground. He said that you thought it was leaking for at least a month, that it was bubbling up 3 inches from the ground. So I dispatched the water department out there, and they got there at about 3:15 and asked if he wanted to shut it off until the repairs were made. He said no. The next day, an emergency fix was called in by Bill Magny. By the end of the day, the leak was fixed. 2 days later, they had low pressure inside of the property since the repair of the service line took place. It was determined we had set an appointment for the next day, which was February 14th. And it was determined that it was an internal plumbing issue. On February 20th, the guys went out and they replaced the meter. It had an old meter in, because it was a meter pit by the street. So we went and replaced the meter, and it was found that the usage on that meter was 4,926,726 gallons, and that was from August 1st to February 20th.
Okay.
So, should I keep going?
Yeah, no, he thought it was leaking in the fall.
That's what I was told from the water department person who responded, said that he knew it was leaking in the fall. He told me for at least a month. That's what I noted in my notes from the phone call.
Okay, because when Randy told me about this situation, about the size of the bill, Randy and I made a decision to help you out, and we cut your bill in half. The water went through the meter, sir. You're responsible for the water that went through the meter, and the leak was after the meter, which is not our responsibility. And we tried to help you out by cutting in half. I don't know if you want us to bid another 13,000. We can't do that, sir. We can't operate like that. The water went through your meter because of a leak on your side of the meter.
Okay, you guys replaced the meter, right?
They did, Christie, right?
Yes, the meter was replaced on February 20th.
Okay, shouldn't the meter let you guys know that there was a large volume of water being leaked?
The meter was replaced after your water leak was repaired. The water leak was repaired on February 11th, and your meter was replaced on February 20th.
Okay.
So we have no way of monitoring an old meter.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it's a big check. It's a big
No,
bill.
I understand, sir. I know, and that's why Randy and I didn't even hold a meeting with the rest of my commissioners. I made a decision on my own with Randy to cut it in half for you because I know it was an awful large bill. And we normally don't do that if it's a leak on your side of the meter. Usually we only give 10%. So we gave you 50% to try to help you out in any way we could. And I thought that was pretty fair in my mind.
Okay.
Randy, you would like that, Randy?
No, I agree. Yep.
Dave, I don't know if you knew about this, but Randy and I made that decision a long time ago to help this gentleman out, and we cut his bill in half. I just can't believe that we can cut another 13,000 off the bill. I don't know what your feeling is.
Can we cut it in half? Cut the 13 in half and I'll pay it.
Dave, you got any comment on that?
I knew that you did. I talked to Randy yesterday and he did tell me that you made this, and then I read the background on it. My only point that I'd like to make is that yes, the meter will tell you when there's a leak, except for 2.5 years, you never had the meter replaced. And we've been sending notices out.
I never received a notice to replace that meter. If I get, I'm a plumber and I'm an electrician. Once I realize there's a leak, there's no indication inside the home there's a leak. I'm actually into repairing the house. The damage from repairing the leak, having to scan through the whole system. After repairing the leak, probably into it for about $7,000 just in repairing, getting all the sand out of the system in the house. That's a 5-zone system. It just, I never got anything nothing in there to replace the meter, nothing in the mail. And like I said, I take care of my mother. If I said that, I would have had you guys come and do it.
It's been going on for over 3 years, Mr. Albano, and we've sent out letters and letters. It's been on the town website. It's been everywhere to update to the new electronic meter. Christy, you never got any returns, did you?
No, I did not. The only couple of repairs I got have since upgraded.
And now this program's been going on for how many years now? 3? 4?
3 or 4.
And it's been on the town website. It's been on channel? It's been all over. I don't know why you didn't get notified, and it was in your water bill statement. When we sent the water bills out, there was letters in there stating if you haven't upgraded, to upgrade.
Yeah. Usually my sister usually pays the water bill. But as for me, if I got anything, I would have had it done. Like I said, I did plumbing repairs for 35 years. I seen something like that, I would have had it done. You know, I just, I had no knowledge of that. Did you guys send out a certified letter or?
No, it goes by regular mail. I got mine.
I never got it. I would have seen it in the mail. I never seen it, you know?
How many of you sent out, Chris? Do you send out how many? Every couple of months we send out reminders, right?
Yes, we send out letters, we send out postcards, at least between half a dozen and a dozen postcards. It's been in bills numerous times. You know, it's been advertised, it's been in the papers.
Yep. Unless you change your address and you never let us know.
Okay. My question too is, do you actually need me there to change the meter, being that it's at the end of the road?
Randy, can you answer that?
I think we already did, right? So you're.
Yeah, you already did.
I didn't. I mean, you guys did this on your own. I didn't know you guys were changing the meter, and you did it. You know. So I mean, I got no letter on there. I didn't see any letter saying that you were going to do that on top of that. You know. So I'm just saying, I never seen a letter. If I'd seen a letter, I'd have had to do it. But you guys took it upon yourself to change it, and I did not see a letter. You know.
We changed it when we were allowed on the property to look at the issue.
Right. We can't go on the property without permission.
Okay.
You know, I'd like to help you, but I think we've helped you as much as we can, sir. I don't know what you want us to do.
Well, you know, like I said, it'd be nice to cut it in half again, and I'd walk away instead of going to court. I don't want to go to court. A lawyer's going to cost me about half of that anyway. You know, I would like to just cut it in half and send you a check this week. You know, we'll call it 6-5 and walk away.
Why would you want us to take us to court when we have documented everything that we've done for you?
Okay.
I said, why would you want to take us to court when we've done everything to try to help you, sir?
I don't want to go to court.
Yeah, but so why would you want to? I think we've been more than helpful. Dave, have you got anything to say on this?
Yeah, if I can make a point that if we deny your abatement, you don't have to go to court. There is an appellate assessors board that's run by the county, and you can present your case with them. So you don't have to go to court.
Right.
And you do have redress. I'm not certain the exact chapter, but it's chapter 40, section 39, I believe, covers all of that. One of those subsections
Right.
will tell you that if you're not happy with what we do, you don't have to hire a lawyer and go to court. You can just appeal it to the appellate assessors. And that's basically the same process here. So
Randy, can you get him that information?
I can.
No, Randy.
Yeah, we can certainly pass it along if you like.
Yeah. So what do you want to do about the abatement, Dave? You want to bring it to a motion?
You're talking to me, right?
I'm talking to Dave,
Okay.
my commissioner. You there,
Okay.
Dave?
yeah, I'm here. I'm just seeing if I can. Water meter testing is L. I'm sorry, I can't find it right now on my other computer.
Okay, Randy will get it to him.
Okay.
Sure.
What are your feelings, Ed? You from what I'm getting, from what I gather, you think we've done enough?
I think $13,900 and something is quite a bit of a 50% off the bill right off the bat.
Yeah. Now, I have one more question for Mr. Albano. This house is your mother's home,
It is, yes.
and you don't live there?
I do live there. I take care of her.
Oh, okay.
So do you think that, I don't know, my personal opinion, I think we've done enough. You know, we've tried to help the gentleman out best we can for this situation. It's whatever, what do you think, Dave? You want to bring a motion where you want to cut it more or?
I don't know. I'm inclined to cut it some more. Just, not because of threat of a lawsuit, but because it is kind of a big bill.
Yes, it is. It is.
$26,000. I don't know. It seems like a $13,000 fine is a bit much for not changing the meter when we asked them to. But I could see 6,500 if you want to cut it again, Ed. Do you have any problem with that?
No, what about 7,500?
Is that amenable to you, Mr. Albano?
Why don't we meet in the middle? Let's go 7, and I'll cut you a check out this week and be done with this.
What do you
How
think,
about you,
Ed?
Ed? You good?
Yeah, to get this done and over with, I guess.
Okay, I make a motion to abate down to $7,000.
As long as we receive the check this week
Okay.
or next week, whatever. No, serious.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, can you mention that as long as we get the check within 7 days?
Yeah.
Okay, I make a motion to abate to $7,000 for the period of 7 days.
Okay. Second.
All right, boys. Thank you for your help. And like I said, if I knew this was happening, I would have corrected the problem.
Hold
I
on, we gotta
had
vote on
no knowledge of this, and
We got to vote on it. We have to vote on it.
Ed, can I ask you?
Okay. All in favor?
Dave Meswar, aye.
Ed Johnson, aye. Motion carried.
Ed, can I chime in real quick here before Mr. Albano hangs up?
Yep,
So I just want to clarify. So the abatement is only on the principal of the bill.
right.
Because Mr. Albano has not paid his bill up until this point, which I believe you mentioned, there has been interest and late fees that have been accruing on that bill.
Right,
So you cannot abate that portion of the bill. You can abate the principal payment only. But I
exactly.
want to make it clear to Mr. Albano that if the abatement approval today, which I think there was just a vote on, there will be other charges for late payments and interest.
Right, we're only on the original cost of the, right. Not the late charges, interest, any of that. That's not abatable.
hey, I got a question. How much of the late charge is going to be?
Chris will have to get that to you.
Yes, I'll call you first thing in the morning with the figure.
Okay.
Yes, we can only get the original amount. We can't abate interest or late fees or any of that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll Kristen, I'll be able to get that from you tomorrow.
Yes, I will give you a call first thing in the morning. How's 8:30?
Okay, sounds good to me.
All right, I'll give you a call at 8:30.
Say again,
I'll call you at 8:30 with the figure.
okay, sounds good.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you for your help.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, Christie, now, didn't we have some elderly rate applicants?
There are a couple. They should be prior to your appointments in your packets. I believe there are 5.
Okay, did they all meet some requirements?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I don't see it. Oh, I got the commitment. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Daniel Thompson. Sure. Do they meet all the requirements?
Yes, they do.
Okay, Dave, you want to make a motion to accept those elderly rate applications?
Yes, I make a motion to accept the 5 elderly rate applications.
Second. All in favor?
Dave Meswar, aye.
Ed Johnson, aye. Motion carried. Okay.
Ed,
Now we have old business, Randy.
Oh, just to clarify on those abatements, do you need to sign those?
Yeah, we'll probably have to come in and sign them, right, Christie?
Yeah, or I can for the next couple days and sign them, whatever we use.
However you want to do it.
Yeah, I'll coordinate with each of you individually.
You're breaking up, Randy.
I'll coordinate you individually to collect those signatures. Is that okay?
Yeah, you're still breaking up.
Sorry, I don't know, my connection here must be bad. I will coordinate with each of you individually to collect those signatures.
Okay. You know how to get a hold of me.
Yep.
You know how to get a hold of me. Okay, old business, F21 budget.
So we are now in the fiscal year 21, so our budget is in effect. It went through the budget review process with the select board, finance committee, and ultimately to town meeting, so everything that we had put on our budget went through. There is one issue that we should talk about, which is some of the debt on the budget this year. So the water main and pump station project, the books, there was a process to secure an obligations bond over a 20-year period.
Right.
And that was a larger bond with some other projects. I think some other capital vehicles. I think maybe North Pond property was on there. So they're all rolled into one big large bond, including the approximate $5 million for this water main and pump station project. So a couple of years ago, if you recall, we developed a rate study. I worked on a rate study to come up with a plan to pay for the cost. So that rate study was in effect starting last year as year one, and there's a 3-year increase. So we're at the beginning of year 2 of that year 3 increase. So the way that the bond was developed, I was surprised when I saw what the impact would be to the water department. It was much higher than I had expected. The numbers that we had earlier from 2018 had a longer term for the bond and lower interest rate. Per Mass General Law, water main and pump station projects can be bonded for up to 30 or 40 years. But this was done at 20 years. And it was a level principal payment. So that means that there's a level principal payment each year, and the interest payment goes down each year. So you have a higher cost year 1, and then each year it drops down, as opposed to a level payment, which would be a same payment over the 20 years of the life of the bond. So those were terms that were new to me, and they were different than the discussions that I had with some folks at Town Hall back in 2018 about the bond. When this bond was in the process of being secured, I wasn't notified. I've never, until recently, received the terms of the bond in terms of the payment schedule. And so the issue is now that it's much higher than I had expected. So there's a bigger impact to our budget this year than was anticipated. So I talked to Carl at length about this today, or last couple days. I don't know what we can do at this point. I asked if that bond could be refinanced. He says at this point that cannot be refinanced, and the terms are the terms. I was told that I thought this was done without our input or our review. He didn't feel the same way, but at the same time, I've never seen a rate debt service schedule until now. So the way that he left it with me was that this should be an issue discussed amongst the chairman of the water commissioners and the chairman of the select board. So Ed, I guess we may want to talk to Doug Moglen about this. I don't know. I know Doug is on the phone here. I'm not sure if he's aware of any of this. I'm not putting him on the spot. But this is something that needs to be discussed, I think, with him to see what we can do about this.
Yeah, it's a big impact. I was never notified about it either. Did you?
Yeah, in the past.
No, this is the first I'm hearing of it, really.
Yeah, it's a big shock to us. I mean, that's what's important to it. We had to cancel a project up on College Highway. We can't afford it.
You know,
I'll have to get some more color. I mean, if there's email about it, I haven't checked my town email all day. I've been just buried today.
That's fine.
But, you know, I know the general bonding process is generally to do a 20-year note, and it's certainly an exception if it's a longer note. And I don't know about other water projects if they bonded longer, and if the question should have been asked, then why wasn't it asked, or why wasn't it put forth? Let me do some research on that. I appreciate you not putting me on the spot so I can get
Yeah,
a
so
chance to
no,
look at it.
we don't want to do that.
And I don't know that there's anything that can be done right now anyway, because I know that they are, I think they're municipal bonds, right? So they're of a fixed term, so I don't know how easily or legally they can be changed from, say, a 20 to a 40 or a 20 to a 30, because they're priced and packaged as a set and sold to
Right.
people who buy them. So if to redeem them, to refi them, they have to be probably called, and I don't know, I'm not a bond guy.
Me either.
But
I'd appreciate if you could check into it and get back to me, because I wish we were notified of it. You know, when Randy got a hold of me, I said, I never got called by anybody or emailed by anybody about it. So,
in the past, I received various rate schedules, and we presented them to the water commissioners for, you know, their review. Which schedule would you prefer to go? Which one works best for you and your rate system? We weren't afforded that opportunity here. So,
Doug, you want my email address?
please.
Okay, S is in Sam, C is in Charlie, B is in boy, A is in apple, the number 2 at Comcast.net.
So this bond was voted, I think, in December. And then even after the bond was voted on, I mean, there was nothing given to me or the water commissioners. Okay, by the way, here's your new rate schedule. You know, nothing along those lines. It was just done, and then we were expected to know it was being done. I'm not sure how that was supposed to happen, but that's the message I got, was you supposed to know this is happening.
And can you get all the information put together for me, Randy, in the near future sometime, so I can it's been a while since we've done that.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, good.
And Randy, this was packaged up with everything else too, right? This wasn't just a single obligation bond against the water line, right? This probably had the fire truck and North Pond and a bunch of short-term borrowing that we wrapped up and did one big, huge bond issue, right?
Yeah, it was, I think, about a $10 million bond.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, Doug. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, Randy, what else you got?
So the next item under old business is the meter reading fee. We kind of talked about this a little bit at our last meeting, and I think we tabled it. So kind of kind of in conjunction with the discussion we had with Mr. Albano not too long, just a few minutes ago. There are a handful of old meters out there that have not been replaced. And we have sent out several notices, not only during the project, but after the project, notifying them that their meter is outdated and needs to be replaced. And we have also been charging a manual meter reading fee to read those meters, because they cannot be done remotely, as with the other. So we talked about maybe revisiting that fee. I believe it's, I think, $100 now. Christy, is that correct?
I believe this last one, I'm gonna look up really quick. I'm not gonna look up real quick. I believe it was $100 or $150.
100 or 150, I can't remember.
So just like Mr. or his, we would send a letter, a meter replay. When you get your bill, get a meter reading fee. Unless if you can call it.
Well, can we send out, yeah, you're all broke. Can we send out certified?
Sorry, was that it? We can. I think we have about
You there, Randy?
Yes, did you hear me? I asked Christie a question.
We have 17 locations left.
There's
That have yet to
17?
update. Yes.
Well, you want to try sending certified letters, give them one more chance?
Well, we could do that. This last one was actually, it was $150 on this last bill. I didn't get any phone calls. I got one phone call, and the guy said, "I'll just take the $150."
Wow. No, we got,
And I have, 16 more people that don't want to upgrade for whatever reason. So,
Randy, we gotta get stern on this. Can you write up a letter, send out, and I can review it, and tell them that they have to change the meter? We gotta come up with something. This has been like 3-4 years now.
Yep,
That would have saved that
my
whole,
phone,
Yeah, it would have. Yes, it would have.
saved that whole
Issue on
talk
Tanner.
if he had done that.
Yep. But we gotta get stern on these 17 people. This is way, if we up it to 500, then maybe they'll wake up. But can you come up with some type of letter that we can send them, Randy? And just, I don't know how to word it. I'm not you hear what I'm saying, Doug? It's just, this has been going on for too long now.
I don't know, 17 people, it almost seems like we almost go door to door, if certified mail, if whatever's working so far. I mean, I don't know. You
wish we
can't
could-
turn their water off because there's a pandemic on, but you know what I mean? It seems kind of crazy, and unless there's some reason why they wouldn't want you to change their meter, that it's buried somewhere and they can't get to it.
Have we put door knockers on, Christie, on the house?
well, they did that during the meter project. Our guys, they had a list in the truck, and prior to the pandemic, before we, put a pause on going to people's houses, just for safety of residents as well as ourselves. They went by and they noticed a car was in the driveway. They knocked on the door and asked if they could change up the meter then. Just as that, we get a lot of people that are pulled out for, whatever reason.
Maybe we
But
can get,
usually when we do the meter, manual meter recharge, you get a couple phone calls, but this time there was one, and that's a resident who had some issues with in the past regarding, canceling meter appointments, to get the fee waived, and then he canceled the next appointment or just doesn't show up.
well, you think it's feasible to have the guys knocking on the doors and put door knockers on again and try it?
Yeah, we can do that.
We try that first instead of spending money for a certified letter?
Technical issues. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. I have some door knockers that I can print up. We can start with that and see if that works. I mean, originally, before the whole pandemic thing, we had discussed possibly rolling them into the shutoffs, to send out a letter and then include them in the door knocker. You have X amount of hours to reach out.
Okay. Can you talk that over with Randy? For some reason, Randy can't hear it.
I don't understand. This is the worst Zoom meeting I've been on in 4 months with echo and
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible.
the worst one in 4 months. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, Randy was broken most of the night. So now he's gone.
Both, oh no, he's down there. One of them's still there. The other one left. Technical
I'm here.
issues.
Dave's there. Okay, Christie, I don't know, Randy, we got water abatement from 11 Shelton Drive.
Yes. So that's on your orange tab. I had sent out a water leak notification to Mr. and Mrs. Gagnon at 11 Shelton Drive. They had a leak at about 70 gallons an hour, and the meter system picked it up. I sent them out a card. And they had a toilet that was leaking in their upstairs. They had it fixed. And then when he received his bill, it was higher. About 2,000 gallons higher than normal. When a toilet's leaking, it's going right down into the sewer. You don't even see it most of the time unless it's running, constantly. So he's just asking for anything that the water commissioners believe is fair. He didn't ask for a specific dollar amount or a percentage. He just wants, whatever you guys think is fair. He did get the notice. He shut the battery down where the leak was. He shut it off. Had somebody come out and fix it.
What was the total bill?
His total bill was for, the water portion of it was $172.98.
Dave, you want to do our normal thing to help her out?
Yeah, would you say $17 was 10%?
Yeah.
You want to do, I mean, we've been doing a little more than 10%. If you want to do a little more than that.
You want to do 25%?
Yeah, whatever that is. That would be somewhere.
What's that come out to, Christie, 25%?
$40. I'm trying to do the math in my head, and it's not working.
Well, it's not working for me either. I didn't get a name in that.
Okay, that's $43.25.
So bring it down to about 130, something like that.
Well, the water portion of it.
Yeah, the water portion, yeah. You good with that, Dave?
I'm good with that.
Okay, make it a form of a motion.
What was the dollar amount?
17.
No, for the abatement.
All right, 1 second. I'm just doing my calculator again. It'll be $129.73. You're breaking it down to.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
I make a motion to abate down to What was that?
$29.73.
$29.73.
Second. All in favor?
Dave Mesler, aye.
Ed Johnson, aye. Motion carried. Okay, well, I'm going to Randy. But is there anything else to go on board, Dave?
No. Oh, I'm sorry, one thing.
Yeah,
If we're going to do a letter, can we put in the letter that we're not going to do any more abatements for leaks? So if they do have a leak in their property, we're not going to abate anything if they don't have the new meter?
good point, absolutely. Yep.
We could include that.
We are,
Because I think that may, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate, but I don't know what's going to get these last 17 people to jump on
Right.
board.
oh, Randy's back. Yeah, we can do that, put that in the letter. Hey, Randy,
Yeah, I can hear you. Hope
can you
can
hear us?
see me.
Yeah, you're all broke up.
I can hear you.
Okay, well, Dave wants to put in the letter, if we have to send out letters to those 17 people, if they don't upgrade, if they had a water leak, they have an exceptionally high water bill, we will not abate the bill whatsoever.
Yep, I agree with that. That's fine.
Okay. That will leave the problem we had on Tannery Road. Is there anything else coming before the board, Randy?
No, nothing here.
Okay, Dave, adjournment?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye. Dave Mesler,
Aye.
aye.
Ed